Now just imagine what it would have been like before everything came into existence. I mean everything. You'll probably say the Big Bang that created all the planets and galaxies and all life. Well, then who created the Big Bang? God created everything. Okay, then who created God? Who created the one who created God? Relax. I'm not a scientist. Mark Zuckerberg suggested a year ago that we live in a simulation. Elon Musk suggested 4 years ago that we live in a simulation.
Games will be indistinguishable from reality, or civilization will end. One of those two things will occur.
On our way to the road, or on our way to the destination where this can never happen again.
Assume any improvement at all over time, any improvement, or would a civilization, if you if you're very generous, civilization is maybe 7,000 or 8,000 years old.
Recently, a conspiracy theory fan posted an interesting conjecture. In this picture, we can see a normal sky. But if you play around with the settings, increase the brightness, crank up the contrast, and maximize this photo, take a close look at what you see. You can see something similar if you take apart any laptop or phone. You all know this experiment where scientists launched some balls through slits. At the end of the experiment, they realized that this experiment breaks all the laws of physics. So they decided to add a device that monitors how the experiment goes. They placed a measuring device near one slit and released an electron. When they began to observe, the particles began to behave like little balls again and produced an image of two stripes. They noticed that the experiment was going the way it should. That is, everything works according to the laws of physics, as if these photons can sense that they are being observed. To understand what we're talking about, look at this time period. That's 200,000 years. That's how long humans have existed on the planet. Now look at this segment. That's about 40 years. Not 40,000 years, 40 years. That's when the digital age came along, from the first computer to the present day. So that's a period of time compared to how long humans have existed. It's nothing. Now imagine what happens in another 200,000 years. How far digital technology will have advanced. I think it's impossible to imagine even in theory, because if my grandfather, for example, saw that I have a robot vacuum cleaner driving around the house and dusting, he would just smash it with a stick just because he was scared. So the point is not that I'm crazy and I'm delusional, although many crazy people say so, but no. Many people, when they hear that we live in a simulation, imagine this theory, as if it were some kind of matrix where they are all connected by tentacles to the head, not flying in some imaginary world, while in the real world evil aliens siphon energy out of them. No. The point is, maybe the real world doesn't exist. What if the laws of physics only work because they were programmed to do so by those who created our world? It's just, you look at our solar system, our galaxy, our universe, and you don't really think there's a race in this universe that's smarter than us? Of course you don't think that, but what if there are? So if they are smarter than us, they have much smarter technology than us, and they can easily create some game where there will be some characters that will develop, learn to mate, reproduce, invent some computers, and can create simulations themselves. Let's take, for example, the graphics that are drawn by modern game engines, Unreal Engine 5. I'll show you two images, and you tell me which one is the real world and which one is the graphics. Well, I've got news for you. They're both computer-generated graphics. Now think about it. If we can already now make a game that will look one-in-one like our real world, then what prevents us to make there the same characters like us? Put them there, assign them a meaningful mind as we have, make them reproduce, make up a god, for example, who will explain to them where their world came from, so they don't have to live in fear, right? And I think these characters inside our game will not suspect at all that they live in a simulation, agree, because it is simply not profitable for them to think so. There are videos on the internet that show us that something is definitely wrong with our world. For example, in this video, a girl noticed a very strange anomaly. or the reflection of a boy in a mirror that did not follow him. I don't know if the footage is montage or if it's real. Anyway, to summarize the whole thing, I don't mean to say that we're living in a game and at some point it's all going to come crashing down, as if looking at the events of the last few years, you wonder if our humanity is so smart that it can create simulations like VR helmet, super realistic graphics in games, artificial intelligence that develops itself, creates movies, draws pictures, performs any tasks for your diplomas. If we look into the near future, 100 years from now, it seems to me that nothing will prevent us from creating the same world we live in. If you love my content, then like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new releases.